These whispered lessons shown on this channel. If I had known.
If I had known, not everyone close to me was a friend. There was a time in my life when I believed something simple, something almost comforting, that the people closest to me were naturally the ones who cared about me the most. It felt logical. Closeness meant trust. Time meant loyalty. Shared laughter meant connection. Or at least, that's what I told myself. I had someone in my life who fit perfectly into that belief. We spoke often, sometimes about nothing important, sometimes about everything that mattered. We understood each other's routines, habits, even moods. They knew when I was quiet for too long. I knew when their energy shifted. To the outside world, we looked like genuine friends. And to me, it felt real. I trusted them, not in a casual way, but deeply. The kind of trust where you don't filter your thoughts, where you speak freely about your dreams without fear of judgment. I shared ideas that I hadn't even fully formed yet. Ideas that were fragile, still growing, still becoming. And they listened. They always listened. At the time, I thought that was support. But looking back now, I realized something important. Listening and supporting are not always the same thing. Because slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, something began to change. It didn't happen all at once. There was no dramatic moment, no obvious betrayal at first. Just small things, the kind you easily ignore. Whenever I spoke about my ambitions, they would respond with hesitation. Are you sure that's realistic? That seems a bit too big, don't you think? People don't usually succeed in things like that. Their tone wasn't aggressive. It wasn't openly negative either. It was calm, almost concerned, the kind of voice that makes doubt sound like wisdom. And I believed them. That was my first mistake. I didn't question their intentions because I had already decided they were on my side. I interpreted their doubt as care, their skepticism as protection. So I started adjusting myself. I stopped talking about certain ideas. I reduced my goals to something safer. I hesitated more. I overthought everything. Without realizing it, I began shrinking. Not because I wasn't capable, but because someone I trusted made me feel like I shouldn't try. And the most dangerous part? It didn't feel like harm. It felt like advice. Time passed, and life continued as usual. We still talked. We still laughed. Nothing seemed broken on the surface. But deep inside, something had already shifted. My confidence, my belief in myself, my willingness to take risks. Then one day, something happened that forced me to see everything clearly. I came across an idea, my idea, being shared publicly. At first, I thought it was coincidence. After all, many people can think alike. But the more I looked at it, the more familiar it felt. The structure, the wording, even the approach, it was too close to what I had once shared in private. And then I saw the name attached to it. Theirs. In that moment, everything went silent. It wasn't just shock. It was realization. A slow, heavy understanding began to unfold in my mind, connecting moments I had previously ignored. The discouragement, the subtle negativity, the constant questioning of my ability. It wasn't random. It was intentional. They weren't trying to protect me. They were trying to limit me. Because as long as I doubted myself, I wouldn't move forward. And as long as I didn't move forward, they could. That realization didn't come with anger at first. It came with disappointment. Deep, quiet disappointment. Not just in them, but in myself. Because I had ignored the signs. I had chosen comfort over awareness. Trust over observation. Closeness over truth. I had believed that proximity meant loyalty. That someone being near me automatically meant they wanted the best for me. But life doesn't work that way. Some people stay close not because they care, but because being close gives them access. Access to your thoughts, your ideas, your weaknesses, your timing. And sometimes, that access is all they need. If I had known this earlier, I would have moved differently. I would have been more careful with what I shared and who I shared it with. Not everyone needs to know your plans while they are still forming. Not everyone deserves to hear your dreams before they become reality. I would have paid more attention to patterns, not just words. Because words can be shaped to sound kind, but patterns reveal intention. I would have asked myself harder questions. Why do I feel smaller after talking to this person? Why do my ideas seem weaker in their presence? Why do I leave conversations with more doubt than clarity? These are questions I never asked before, but now I do. And the answers have changed the way I see people, not in a negative way, but in a clearer one. Because the truth is, not everyone who smiles with you supports you. Not everyone who listens to you believes in you. And not everyone who stands beside you is walking in the same direction. Some are simply watching, waiting, positioning themselves. That realization might sound harsh, but it's also freeing. Because once you understand it, you stop seeking validation from the wrong places. You become more intentional with your trust. You protect your energy, your ideas, your vision. And most importantly, you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Today, I still believe in friendship, but I believe in it differently. I no longer measure it by time spent or words shared. I measure it by impact, how someone affects my growth, my mindset, my direction. Real friends don't confuse you. They don't quietly discourage you while pretending to care. They don't benefit from your silence or your hesitation. Real friends challenge you, yes, but in a way that pushes you forward, not backward. They remind you of your strength when you forget it. They celebrate your progress, not compete with it. They don't need you to be smaller for them to feel bigger. That's how I see things now. And maybe this lesson came the hard way. Maybe it cost me time, confidence, and opportunities one could have taken earlier. But it gave me something far more valuable. Awareness. Now I move differently. I still connect with people. I still share parts of myself. But I do it with intention, with awareness, with understanding. Because I have learned something I will never forget. Closeness is not proof of loyalty. And sometimes, the person sitting closest to you is the one you should understand the most. If I had known this earlier, I would have protected my path better. But now that I know, I will never walk blindly again.
Stories whispered, lessons shown on this channel.
Thank you for choosing If I Had Known YouTube channel, where you find the life-changing stories. Stay tuned in and never miss the next episode.